What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Try Time Podcast YouTube channel. I'm Callum, and here's a St Helens 2024 Super League season preview. Now, this is the 7th one of these we've done, so we've already got 6 of the teams already on the channel, so go check them out after this video, and obviously we've got the other ones to come as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I think let's get straight into who St Helens have lost, and there is quite a few. So I'll list them out. So they've lost Taylor Pemberton to York, Juma Sambao, I've absolutely butchered that name, I know, so I am sorry, to Oldham, Wesley Bruins to Warrington, Dan Norman to Lee, Lewis Baxter to Lee, Matty Foster to Salford. Then we go on to some of sort of the bigger names. James Roby, who was retired, Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, who was retired, Will Hopawati, who was retired, and then we've got two guys who they have released who are now on loan at the Bulls. So you've got Daniel Moss and Elliot Paposhi. Still, at the time of recording, yet to know whether these guys have actually earned a contract yet. They have played in a couple of the friendlies and stuff, so I guess we have to kind of stay tuned for that. So yeah, there's quite a lot of names there, but you probably, let's say, your Pemberton, your Sambao, I've absolutely butchered the name of, Bruins, Baxter, Foster, I think, rarely featured. Also, I don't think there'll be a direct loss to St Helens. I don't think they'll miss them necessarily this season. Obviously, who knows what sort of players they're going to develop into. But, a few of them have gone, on to Super League. Some have dropped down to Championship or even League One in Oldham's case, although they're expected to absolutely walk that league. So they've got opportunities to play, I guess, which they wasn't getting at St Helens. And then obviously the trial guys, like I've just mentioned, again, not really played first team football. If they have, it's an odd game here and there. So yeah, they need the opportunity as well, and I guess, again, dropping down to Championship is what they're doing to get that. And then, you've got Dan Norman, who is a player who did generally feature. He spends a lot of time out on loan, it seems, from Saints. Really good forward. I'm really impressed with him. I did give a lot of praise to him in the Lee preview, because obviously they've signed him. I think he's a great signing for them. And potentially a loss for Saints, but I don't think it's anything for a Saints fan to really worry about. Right, so let's go on to who they've got in, which is a lot less than who they've lost, put it that way. So we've got Darryl Clark from Warrington, Matt Whitley from Catalans, and Waka Blake from Parramatta. Now let's start off with Clark. Obviously, Roby's gone. They need a speciality 9 who can realistically play at least 60 minutes in a match, probably 80 realistically. Clark is that. He's former man of steel in Super League, experience, unreal. He's played in Super League for however many years now. Exactly what they needed, I think. I think he's kind of getting to a point where I almost think he's having a bit of a second wind in his career. Things were maybe going a bit stale, a bit samey. Played really well for England in the recent Test series against Tonga. So I think it's a great signing for Saints, and to have him for the next few years, I think it's great. Really, he's one of the best hookers in the competition. Matt Whitley from Catalans. Again, I think he's just, what you're going to get from a Matt Whitley type player. Back rower, he's going to do a job for you. He'll run hard, he'll tackle hard. Nothing too spectacular, but he's going to do a job for you. And that's all you need, really. Is he going to start? I don't know. It's one of them, really. But he's going to get minutes at some point, I imagine. And he's a decent little player, really. Good acquisition. And then you've got Waka Blake, which I guess is the quote-unquote big one from overseas. Originally, when they released the squad numbers, number 3 were missing. We knew they were wanting to bring a centre in. There were rumours about pretty much every centre in NRL basically going around. They've ended up with Waka Blake. I know he's maybe struggled last season at Parramatta, but I do think it's a good signing. If his head's screwed on right, and he's up for it, and he wants to fight, and he wants to play, it's a great signing for Saints. It offers something completely different than what they've got with Harrell and Percival. Completely different sort of dynamic running threat. Good defence. Stuff like that. When these players come over, they can be good and they can be bad. We know that. We say this in pretty much every Super League preview we've said. You never know with the overseas signings, and I guess we truly don't. But if I'm a St Helens fan, I'm quietly optimistic about Waka Blake, I think. Great signing. Right, so let's move over to a bit of a conclusion now. So, I think the obvious thing is that the 3 players who have retired and the 3 big players have lost, they have directly replaced them players. You've got Darryl Clark replacing Roby. Whitley and McCarthy Scarsbrook, not as much, but you've lost a big forward. You're gaining a forward who's a bit different type of forward, really. But it's still a replacement, I guess. And then obviously Hopewati's gone and Wacker Blake's coming in. I think with the stage Hopewati we're at in his career, I think Wacker Blake is more of a positive move, a more proactive move. And I think, like I've said, if he hits the ground running, I think you're absolutely laughing. It's interesting with Roby, what life after Roby will look like. It's a lifetime, it seems, since Saints had a season without Roby, really. Just how good he's been. Literally, I think the phrase that I would use to describe him is man of steel. Even though obviously he don't win it every year, he is just that in a completely 8 out of 10s every week. What a player! I think Clark is a good replacement, like I say, but obviously he has stayed in a role at the club. But it'll be interesting to see how the team functions without him. And I think you're looking at the squad now. It's a solid 17 or so, I think. 17, 18, 19 sort of thing. But I think if they do get a few injuries to some big players, which has happened to Saints in the past, and it happens to a lot of teams, these young lads are going to step up. And I'm not going to say if they get injuries they're going to struggle, because I know that some of these young lads can step up and potentially will, which I think is great, and it's good that they've got that bank of young talent there. But in terms of if you're wanting to win grand finals, or you wanting to keep this squad fit, this sort of core 20 players, let's say, fit and healthy throughout the whole season. I think overall, the biggest thing going into this season, which is probably weird for you Saints fans, is it's the first season in a good few seasons that you're not going into it the favourites. Obviously last year you were big favourites and you've won so many on the bounce. Now Wigan won last year and have improved their team as well, and are obvious favourites this year. Like, it's, there's no secret about that, like everyone knows it. So it's going to be interesting for Saints. I think they might like it though. Go under the radar a bit more. It used to be, well, Saints are going to batter every team. Now they can go under the radar. They'll still pick up wins. I'm fairly certain I think they'll still be in playoffs, up there top 3 or 4. And then once you're in that position, what can happen in playoffs and grand final and all, etc, etc. So I think if Saints fan, pretty happy with that. I think you've replaced the 3 retiring players well. Obviously you never know how they're going to actually perform, but I think it's positive stuff at Saints, and hopefully for you guys you can get back winning titles soon. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you on the next one.